Hey everybody, so I thought I would take you on a small little witchy tour of my tiny little witchy room. So first we'll start with my cinnamon broom. It had this forever. It was given to me by my mother-in-law, the broom part of it was. And so I went through and I took some flowers and some vines from the property just to spruce it up and bring some of that green in. These are 2 tapestries with the Lunar Moth. Love the Lunar Moth. And one is moon, one is sun, kind of hitting on that duality points. And they were super cheap. I got it as a set off of Amazon. I think it was like under $15. But the quality of these, the quality of the tapestry itself, I'm just really impressed, especially for that price point. Super impressed with this set. This is our nature altar. My kids and I have a habit in blessing that we find all this different stuff in nature. And so we've been doing the nature altar for a long time. It's grown. Not all of our stuff is on there. We change it out every now and then. So like this box, even though it's got some stuff on top of it, it's got some raccoon hair that I use in some spell work. It's got a butterfly, a little crawdad crab thing. But inside the box is my raccoon bones. And this piece here is a piece of driftwood that we found on the property a long time ago. And to me, it looks like a deer head. And that was the most special part about it. And so it has always been a part somewhere in our home as a center focal piece. Deer have a lot of association with me. These little guys used to be in my garden. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, my little frogs. And I thought it would be a really nice touch to add them. I don't know if that's exactly going to be their placement, but you know, it's good for now. And then I've got a little plant, and a friend of mine, Leslie, gave me this idea and stuff to have the plant be what feeds this altar. And so I planted some marigold seeds yesterday. And so, you know, we'll watch as they grow or if they grow. In here are a bunch of the different rocks and stuff that I found. We've got a bunch of our hagstones in there. We find tons of hagstones in our area. My Gaia statue, absolutely love her. She is just gorgeous, and I love all the little animals and stuff in her hair, and just really, really love this particular statue. A couple of our turtle shells, our beaver bones, some other bones. This has a hodgepodge of different things, but it also has my arrowheads and stuff in there that I've found on the property. And then I'm pretty sure that's a deer bone, but don't quote me because I don't know. And my little wooden bowl with my knife, feathers that we find all over the property. And then these are my little Nissy. Love my little Nissy. And then they just had to have a spot on the altar. And normally this candlestick here goes back here in this spot. But while it burns, it comes out. And it's kind of like a fire pit for them in a weird sort of way. And then underneath, I just have a bunch of my crafting stuff. That Folgers can, the red Folgers can that's down there, has all of my small candles for spell work and things. And I've got a bunch of different things for making whatever I need to. And then down below, I've got my moon water, and then I've got specialty waters like storm water, water from the Appleton Creek that we went to for ancestor work and things of that nature. So this is another piece of driftwood that we found on the property, and when my husband brought it up, I just freaked out and loved it. So right here, it's like a little face. And then you've got the crown piece coming out on each side. Depending on how you look at it, There are parts that look like dragons. There are parts that look like different animals. And it's got little stones and stuff stuck into it here and there all throughout. And so this is really a representation of the forest spirit here. And when I'm talking about like the overarching kind of guardian type spirit. I just love that piece. And then this is the Morrigans, and over on this side is Karis. These are little lanterns. I've really gotten away from candles when it comes to honoring my deity and things of that nature, and I'll get into that later in this week. But I love these little lanterns. They're electronic. They are on a timer. They come on in the evenings. It just really lights the room. I love it. Okay, so for my first altar, the top one is my Ancestor Altar. And it also holds Orn. And Orn is a spirit we created. It's a guardian spirit for our home. I have the spell all over my Facebook and stuff. And I will eventually do a video just on him. But I absolutely love Orn. I keep my little cauldron up here for my burning. And this is just a regular tile. Just a little itty bitty, I think it's like 10-cent tile or whatever. And I put my own symbolism and stuff onto there. And it makes a really nice holder for that. And so it doesn't heat the things underneath. Safety. All about safety. Got my mortar and pestle. All of the rocks that are up here that you see are ones that we got from Appleton Creek. I love this one. It's like a mask. Just gorgeous. And these were just so interesting with all their little holes and stuff that they've got in them. And this one it's got all these different holes and hagstone pieces. It's just a gorgeous piece. And then I got this little bell that I found at a flea market. I think I paid like 50 cents or $1 for it. And so similar to my nature altar and my Gaia altar, this is when I'm asking my ancestors to grow. And it's going to take a long time because it's a red cedar tree, juniper. I have got numerous seeds because I've started planting some for outside on our property. And yeah, I just thought it would be really neat to just grow them inside one at a time. They get very large trees, so I can't grow too many on the property. We do want a few. I really love the idea of having them as sentries towards the front. In the back is some of my graveyard dirt, my Ozark women puppets, turtle, because, you know, turtle's the thing now. It's just where we're going. And then my little ancestor tree. I found this little tree, and I had no idea what I was going to do with it. I just thought it was neat, so I picked it up at a flea market. Again, same flea market. And then I added some of the feathers from our journeys and around. And I added stones that kind of represent each of my 4 great-grandmothers. And we're talking like, you know, my second through my 5th great-grandmothers on my mother's side, all following the female line. And little trinket balls that also have colors for them and stuff. So that's my ancestor altar. Down here is my Morrigan altar. And I've got the blue heron, gave us a feather recently. So that is on there. I get lots of feathers from our ravens here. They drop them like crazy all the time, especially about this time of year. And then I've got my little raven statue. My egg that I've had since the very beginning of my journey with the Morrigan on a conscious level. And so that has a significant representation. This was a small raven claw. We found it laying in the middle of the drive. And so we did some research on it, and it is one of our ravens, and it was really sad because it would have been one of our small ones. a couple of stones. This one I found here. All of this has been found on the property. So this one here we found, and to me it looked like a woman, you know, some type of guardian or a warrior with wings holding some type of staff-like thing, and I just thought that was really neat. It's a stone back there. This one looks kind of like some type of ship with a person inside the middle of it, and then the one back there. I'll get back to the statue. So over here are the cicadas. I've got cicada shells, and then I have some few just regular cicadas that have died naturally. If it looks like they have died from being eaten, if there's holes in them, if they've been torn up or anything like that, I do not keep those ones. I only keep the ones that look like they died from complete natural causes. Back there is the Morrigan's, it's her anointing oil. It's one that I developed for her, works really well. I put it into this shell here, and then I use it when I'm blessing things. This little guy here is from the honey locust tree, along with the thorn in the back. These are both from our honey locust tree here on the property. It's a very important tree to me. It's a very sacred tree, and it's very much fits with her, and she really likes it. And then a stony knife-like thing that I found, definitely was fleshed out by somebody. And some of our stones kind of representing her cycles of sovereignty, war, and prophecy. And then I have looked for a really long time for a statue that I really liked about the Morrigan. Could not find one. I really didn't like the, it was sexualized. I really didn't like all the, you know, the concentration was on the war and the battle aspect, which to me is probably one of her smaller aspects, considering when you think about her sovereignty and when you think about her prophecy and her role inside of lore and things. So even though, yes, you know, battle was a big thing, I have a different take on that. So I really loved this piece. And I know some people have commented about the Celtic crosses and all this, but I like the look of the Celtic crosses. And I think it's very befitting, especially considering how in Ireland the merging between the old ways and the new ways was a lot more than in other places. You had a lot more blending that went on, and they were able to keep other things like bread. So, you know, even though we may have some aversion of the way that the hierarchy of the church works and all that, it does not mean we can't appreciate certain aspects. And I'm not talking about certain aspects of Christianity. I'm talking about artwork. So down here is Karis Altar. And his altar is really sparse right now because, one, I just moved him to his very own space. And two, my son Crichton is going to be redesigning this. He's going to be adding to it with the things as he goes along and connects with him. So I think that's really cool. So we've got a shell, we've got the owl representation. He loved the idea of a feather and an inkwell. We didn't have an inkwell, so we compromised and we found a little tiny jar in my collection and filled it with some sand from our ancestors and stuck the feather in. And because to him, Kari is a lot about written word, you know, voice, but in a different kind of style. And then the deer head, again, sourced from our property here. It was found when they were on a walk and just is really fitting for him. He has a high association with deer. And then this little turtle shell right here, we're actually going to do some stuff to. We just recently found it not too long ago. And we're going to turn it into a musical rattle type of a deal, similar to like a maraca. And then another deer bone piece, and then a little pyramid just because. And then I have my books and my tarot and my journals. And then down there, which is still a mess because I haven't done anything with it, is some more of my supplies. This huge box here. So I do my primary work here on top of this chest. And my husband put the chest on casters so it rolls around. But it's where I can keep all of my old journals, all of my old books, things that I'm not using, but that I think would be useful for my children or, grandchildren, whoever ends up getting all my stuff. So it's just that kind of piece. And then over here is my living money spell. And it's been a while. I think it's been up for about a year, probably pretty close to a year. It is kind of funky. So later this week, I am going to be taking it all down, refreshing the whole entire spell, and redoing parts to refresh it, rejuvenate it, and really give it some big life. I think probably once a year, every 6 months, probably need to do that just to give it that boost, that freshness. So you'll see a video on that coming soon. And then there's Daisy. So I have this big couch in here. And a couple of reasons. One, because we have nowhere to stick it, so it's stuck in my room. So I'm making the best of it. It kind of makes us a little more closed in, but it's okay. The wonderful thing that Daisy loves is that she gets her own spot right next to the big window. Yeah, she likes her spot. Anyway, that's her blanket. That's where she resides. And then back here, we've got a big shelving unit that's got all kinds of stuff, and then we put a tapestry on top of it. That way it doesn't seem as messy and cluttered. But, small spaces, we got to make do with what we can do. And so, yeah, that's what I do. So, again, it's just my little witchy room and where I'm doing a lot of my work. When I'm not outside on the porch, I do a lot outside on the porch. And do have a fabulous view of the valley. All right. Have a great day. Bye.